going to introduce who Jesse is. Jesse's Toastmaster journey began in 1995 via Speechcraft program when he was a civil engineering student at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. In 2002, he joined his home Toastmasters club, Star Masters Toastmasters. From 2005 to 2024, his service included being a Select Distinguished Area Governor, President's Distinguished Division Governor, District 33, District Governor, Region Advisor, and most recently, an International Director serving South Nevada, California, Oregon, and Hawaiian communities. Fellow Toastmasters and happy people, without any further delay, please help me welcome with a warm round of applause for our past International Director, Distinguished Toastmasters, Jesse Oakley III, with his title, The Serious Business of Being Funny.
Thank you very much. And it is great to be here at this wonderful Toastmaster Club. And let's go right into the interest and the seriousness of how to be funny. They say that laughter is the best medicine. Well, if that's true, allow me, Jesse Oakley III, to be your neighborhood pharmacist for the next 10 to 14 minutes. I promise you, I will give you the prescription that is needed in order for anyone to actually have a chance to be F-U-N-N-Y funny. Yet, before I go into that, there were times that I tried to use humor. Sometimes were good, other times were not so good. As a matter of fact, those times where it has not been so good, I was shaking, I was saying us, I fell flat on my punchline, and I experienced something called the flop sweats. Now, what in the world are the flop sweats? Well, the flop sweats are the nervous sweats by fearing that you're going to fail before you even try. And that can get quite nervous, getting on the stage and actually giving a funny speech or any type of funny environment. It could get quite nerve-wracking, and I've been through my share of flop sweats. And when I talk to people, it is always best that I give the words of wisdom. Sometimes this will be the first time you go in front of an audience trying to a funny speech or go in front of a stand-up comedy routine. And I usually give advice for anybody that's giving their first attempt. Or when you're giving your first attempt at anything, and I do mean anything, I have 3 words to share with you. And those 3 words are right there. Expect to stink. No one person can get everything right the first time or the first go around. You never see babies after they're born do a somersault right at the birthing office. If you do, I like to see videos of that happening. When you have a team get together, you don't see everything go so perfectly to a point where they actually win championships. It takes time, it takes effort, and you're going to go through your own amount of stinkage. The key thing about this is, after you go through your first attempt at stinking, you have a choice to actually where to go after that. You can either wallow in your own self-pity and your own woe and figure, man, I really stink at this. Or you can actually find ways to actually become better at your craft. The successful people always follow the ladder in becoming better at their craft. And next thing you know, the levels of stinkage goes from here, down to here, down to here, down to here, until the stinkage is nothing and you wind up smelling like a rose. Now, when it comes to humor, humor isn't just a punchline. No. It is not a punchline one bit. It is not like we tell one-liners or dad jokes or anything else that has an end result. It can be used as a strategic tool. Now, why in the world could this used as a strategic tool? How could this be used as a similar chessboard? What are the right moves to make? How could this be effective? Humor works in 3 different fashions. One, it builds connections. There's no better connection than a ha ha ha, a he, and a hoo hoo hoo. If you have any type of laughter, any type of smile that's right there, you're building that connection. And it's a lot better than the opposite. And when I think of opposite of humor, I think of the scowl, I think of the anger, I think of the bitterness. And you cannot connect bridges with bitterness and anger and any type of negativity. If you have any type of positive reaction that results in laughter, you're building the connection. Number two, it increases retention. Now, when you think about retention, you think about people that are coming back for more. And you also have people that not only going to come back for more, they'll have a chance to tell other people by word of mouth or by Yelp or by any other modes of communication about how funny the speech is or how funny the person is. And chances are, yeah, more people show up over and over and over again. Humor creates great retention that way. And number three, it diffuses tension. I love a diffusing tension humor moment. Let's say that all of us are here, sitting silent, sitting quiet, mind our own business. And I love doing the following. Anytime I see a Toastmasters Zoom meeting, be real quiet for at least 5, 10, 15 seconds. I would say, wow, for a bunch of Toastmasters, we sure are quiet. And that could break up a lot of the humor that is right there. And there are people that would definitely laugh and actually have fun with it. See, that is a great example on how to diffuse tension by using humor. Now I'm here to explain to you the 3 different keys to humor techniques. And these 3 keys will be helpful and vital if you want to try something that is relevant to a humorous presentation. Key number 1, the rule of 3. Now, the rule of 3, the explanation of this is you have to start with a follow-up pattern of 1, 2, and then the twist. You have one section, you have the second section, and then the third section will be a surprise that comes out of nowhere. A good example about this is I came for the food, stayed for the fun, and then ran away when they brought the karaoke machine. That is an interesting twist on actually using the rule of 3. And this application of the rule for 3s could be either great for lists, storytellings, and one-liners. So you can imagine yourself using the rule for 3 for that department. Just think of the rule of 3. There's 2 things that are normal in something, and then that third thing, use a twist and surprise people. That is very vital in using the rule of 3. Key number 2, exaggerations and absurdity. The one important thing about exaggeration and absurdity is this is the point where you get to blow everything out of proportion. Everything that seems to be unreal. That makes you go, what the? Have you tilt your head wondering, what the heck just happened? A good example about this is, my dog is so spoiled, he has a therapist, and I'm jealous of their relationship. That is an example on using exaggeration and absurdity. If you have a chance to actually use exaggeration and absurdity, you could actually use that in a good example about this would be the Tall Tales contest. I've heard many speeches in a Tall Tales contest where they use exaggerations and absurdities. As a matter of fact, there was one time I used a speech on Tall Tales involving pigs flying at preventing Las Vegas in the buffets. And I wondered, how did the pigs fly? How did they know about Las Vegas? How did they know about certain buffets? And I found out that I found out that the pigs flew to Las Vegas due to one connection. That's ham radio. And that is an example of exaggeration and absurdity. Unfortunately, I didn't get as far as district with that type of speech, but the tall tales using exaggerations could be very interesting. And then one caution about exaggeration and absurdity is it must be grounded in truth. You have one thing that seems normal, and then you could just go zany and out of proportion and just go as far as your imagination can go with exaggerations. Anyone would tell you, you have to use a little bit of exaggeration here, a little bit of exaggeration there, a little bit of exaggeration here. I say, blow it up with exaggerations. Be imaginable, be creative. Go as wild and as wacky as you can with your exaggerations. But make sure you have to have the right audience, because sometimes the over-the-top exaggerations may work for some environments, but it may not work for other environments. So the key thing is to know your audience when it comes to exaggeration and absurdity. And that way, if you know your audience, that way you can also set yourself free and go as wild as you can with exaggerations. And key number 3, callbacks. Callbacks. Now, the explanation of a callback is you refer back to an earlier joke or a line for a surprise laugh. For example, the setup, I used this earlier as a setup. Number 1, I'm not great with the directions. It seems like a key setup, right? And when you have the setup, then you go right into your story, and then you go to callback later. And the callback later example is, I'm not good with directions. Somehow I ended up at a wedding, wrong city, wrong bride, but the food was amazing. See how you have it right there? You have your setup in the beginning, and then after the setup in the beginning, you talk about your story, and then you have the end result would be in the callback on what happened at the end results. And the benefit about this is it gives your speech cohesion, rewards, and attentive listeners. So it rewards attentive listeners that are following the story. Don't just tell them about the story. Take them there with something that seems unbelievable and just out of sorts within the callbacks. And also, when you think about the 3 keys on how to deliver your humorous speech, you also want to realize that delivery matters. And delivery matters in 3 different forms. 1, pause before and after the punchline. You do not want to walk into your anyone's laughter with a speech. Number 2, pacing. Don't rush. Let the audience process the joke. Let the audience process the punchline. Let the audience think for a moment, and then it will simmer right in there. And then confidence. You got to believe in your humor. This is very important. If you're just standing up in front of a live audience with a humorous speech and you just don't believe in yourself and you talk like this and you expect others to believe in your speech going ha 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 ha, will they ever get a laugh? Chances are, unless you're Ben Stein, no, you're not going to get that good laugh. So you got to believe in your humor. You got to believe in what you're able to do. And if people don't think you're fun, if you don't think you're funny, neither will the other people. And for my wrap up for the recap, humor builds connections, boosts memories, and eases tensions. Remember to use the rule of 3. You can exaggerate, you can use callbacks, and you can use all that for stronger impact. And for call to action, don't just write speeches, craft moments of laughter. Be as funny as you possibly can be, because when you make them laugh, they'll remember your message, and sometimes they'll remember your name. And in the closing, if all of this advice I told you, that if all of it fails, if everything goes in the flop sweat moments, just do what I would normally do at this time. Trip over the microphone and get a laugh. It's been a great pleasure to actually get to do this presentation on the seriousness of being funny. I hope that everyone has a chance to learn a thing or two from this presentation. And I'll get contact back to the Toastmaster. Thank you very much, Toastmaster.
Question. I got a
Thank
question.
you.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. Oakley, I know
Yes.
that you worked and has traveled the world as representing District Toastmasters International. Is there an opportunity where humor probably wasn't appropriate?
Oh my goodness. There are humors that's appropriate, and I like to give a bonus. And I would say this in summary in the 2 words: emotional intelligence. And once you understand sense of emotional intelligence, you know that at any type, at any location, you figure out where humor is and isn't appropriate. Let's say that you're at a funeral, and the funeral is supposed to be a dull summer moment. Unless the person is known for being funny, then you can actually add a little bit of humor. But in some cases, the sad moments will be right there for sadness. Or if there is some type of tragedy there's tragedy. Or if there's some areas where, for example, you push the boundaries or go into the dangerous realms of skin tone or even religion, that could be a risky chance too. You got to be careful on where you use your humor. And I always give the SAINT method when it comes to humor and in different environments. And SAINT, S, know your stage. A, know your audience. That's important. Know your audience. I, know your information that you have at hand, your material. N, know your notes. And T, always know your time. So you follow the same method using emotional intelligence. That is very important. And that's how I follow through with what I do as in any type of leadership role I take on.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Oakley. What was that, SNIT or SNOT?
S, oh my goodness, SAINT.
All right.
And if it's SNOT, is a totally different speech.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you.
There's just one comment. I did not connect with one comment.
All right.
You said, I think you were you talked about Florida or Nevada, and you said pigs would fly. And I thought, I haven't been to either of those places, so I can't relate to that. I don't know whether pigs will fly in Florida or Nevada.
Oh,
Just
we'll
a
see.
comment.
No problem. We'll just see when they have wings.
Thank you very much. And before we move on to our next item, which is new officer installation by Ma Jane,